Hey guys, what's up? Chef Easy in the mic one more time. So in this new series, guys, we're gonna be recreating a lot of my most favorite fast food in a homemade way. Today, what we're gonna be doing is my most favorite burger, and I can debate all day and all night about this, guys. In-N-Out probably has one of the best burgers in the world. It's iconic, it's a must. Like, you gotta have In-N-Out. If you don't know about it, you will now. I just got this most delicious burger in the world. It's just like, it's such a beautiful thing. What makes In-N-Out so special is their style. If you eat an In-N-Out burger, no burger in the world will be like In-N-Out. White American buns. They only grill them facing down, so they get these edges right here super crispy. So the first bite that you take, you get a crisp, and it's just like unbelievably good. Now the patties, the meat is not dry, it's not oily, it's actually a good level patty. The amount of fat in it is perfect. Those caramelized onions, there's no science to it, just good quality caramelizing, which basically that is just nice onions, finely chopped. They throw them in the grill and they just flip them every so often until they are perfectly caramelized. They release all their natural sugar, and then the onions are just beautiful. Good quality American cheese, their infamous bread. I just think they're using high quality mayo, high quality ketchup, a good quality of relish in there. Lettuce, tomatoes, gives it a perfect bite. Let's go to the kitchen and make this, guys. So basically what we're gonna be doing is a double burger. Patties are house made. The level of fat in the patties is 80% lean, 20% fat. We're gonna be doing hand cut fries. We're gonna be doing caramelized onions. We're gonna do their famous good old animal fries. So let's start with the caramelized onions. That's the one part of this burger that takes the longest to make, just because literally, guys, there is no science to this. There's no technique. All they do is one thing, and one thing really good. Nice consistent cuts on their onions, drop them on the grill, they forget about it, and then they just rotate them here and there. And there's nothing to it, guys, so let's get to this. So, onion, you gotta make sure it's peeled, clean. Don't take the little butt in the back, because that holds the onion in place. So when you're dicing, it's easier to hold. And then you gotta be consistent all around. And then the onion curves, so you gotta curve your knife with the onion. And then we're gonna do 3 cuts. One in the center, one on top, because this is a big onion right here. We're gonna cut straight down. And then we're just gonna throw them directly on the grill. And these onions will take a while. I think they're gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes to caramelize. And then there's nothing to it. They don't add any sugar. They just add a little bit of oil, just so they do caramelize. And just a little pinch of oil. And voila, drop them all down. And it's very important you spread them evenly in your grill, just so they caramelize evenly. If you just let them sit in a big mountain, then the bottom ones will be caramelized and the top ones will be raw, and they'll be all weird. And then I have a big grill, and it seems like a lot of onion, but once they cook down, it turns into nothing. I'm gonna drop a little more oil just so. Now that you got your onions going, let them sit there, man. Forget about them. Be patient. They're marrying. They're getting to know each other. The caramelized onions, all it means, it's what the name is, caramelized onion, guys. The sugars, the natural sugars on the onion are gonna start leaking out of the onion. A lot of the natural moisture is gonna be sweating out, and they're just gonna become sexy. You know, they're just gonna become sweet and nice and tasty for the burgers. I personally like caramelized onions on my In-N-Out double. Some people like the raw, but I like it cooked. The spread's very important. It's iconic sauce of In-N-Out. You look online, there's hundreds of versions of how do they make it, but I honestly think it's a very simple approach, and I'm gonna show you how I think they do their spread. So some relish. Make sure you get pickle sweet relish, just because if it's sweet, it has natural sugars in it. It's not so vinegary. So instead of you adding more sugar to this sauce, the natural relish sweetness is gonna be nice and merry with the cucumbers. Make sure it's chopped up for you already, because if you chop it up yourself, then you're gonna like release and press a lot of those natural juices you want in the spread. And so basically, I just added about 1/4 tablespoon in there. Then we have mayonnaise, and then mayonnaise is actually 1 tablespoon tops. And a little bit of a spread goes a long way. Second is ketchup, and then for ketchup is a solid 3 tablespoons in there. Now let's go 3.5. That looks about right. And a little secret, guys, small splash of some sweet liqueur. And what I mean small splash, the most minimal. I'm not burning off the alcohol. The reason why I'm doing this, I was lucky enough to work with my uncle, who he has recently passed away, but an amazing chef. And one day I saw him, he was making In-N-Out burgers at work, and he told me, he's like, hey, you want to get some burgers? I was like, you mean from In-N-Out? He's like, no, I'm making them from scratch. And so basically I saw him do a little splash of brandy. I asked him what he did. Brandy. I'm using rum right now. And I said, why are you doing brandy? He's like, because he's like, you want the liquor to kind of mask that like industrial flavor of like mayonnaise and ketchup. And I was just like, it's kind of smart. And he did it. He did those burgers. And honestly, guys, it was probably one of the best burgers I ever had in my life. And I was like, so that's the secret to the spread of In-N-Out. There you guys have it. Let's try a little bit. A little more ketchup. So definitely more ketchup, guys. Let's go another 1/2 teaspoon on it. And let's go a little bigger on the splash of liquor. I can still taste that like industrial flavor. For this purpose, we don't want that. If you ever get to taste In-N-Out, the spread is very like very well balanced. You don't taste the ketchup, you don't taste the mayo. The relish is really well hidden in there, and so that's what you wanna get, and just a tiny pinch of salt, just to kind of get those flavors all out. Mix it. My spray actually looks pretty spot on. One more taste. Back in the fist. So we have done the spread. The spread sitting on the side. Let the relish marinate throughout the mayonnaise, the ketchup. I'm using rum, so let the rum kind of keep on spreading out. Let the alcohol kind of keep on curating and marrying and getting that industrial flavor of ketchup and mayonnaise out of it. Let it sit there for a couple minutes. You mix it right up and then you use it. It doesn't develop as much flavor as you like it to. And so that's why I kind of done it. Let it sit aside. I'm letting my onions nice and caramelize. As you can see, they're already starting to sweat naturally. And then all you want to do is just make sure you're moving now and then so they cook as evenly as possible. And then we're gonna do our flip. Another thing that In-N-Out is very famous for is their hand-cut fries. And the debate always comes, who has better French fries, McDonald's or In-N-Out? And it's all about preference. If you like that freshly fried potato, they're like a little crispy for the first few minutes, then they become a little soggy. I personally like that. Not many people do. I also love McDonald's French fries. But for this purpose, we gotta hand cut them. And In-N-Out, they have like this hand press where they put the potato in this like little thing, and then they press it down, and then they going super fast. But if you got good knife skills and you're patient enough, you should be able to cut this potato. So basically you use roasted potatoes. You peel them and you let them sit in water just for a couple of minutes, just so all those extra starch falls out. And also your potatoes don't oxidize as you're cutting. And the potato is naturally round, and I always take that little piece off right there, just so it sits flat and it doesn't slide around. And then that's how I do my even slices. And then they're about 1/4 of an inch thick. I'm just trying to be as consistent as possible. And then at the end, the end piece right there, I flip around just so I know where I'm at. I always get an odd piece, so I cut that little piece off. I move that away. And the potato, because they did the little flat thing right there, cut it as thin as possible. And now I'm just gonna separate them, because they've been soaking in water, they stick together. And I'm just consistent as possible. Something I love about the In-N-Out fries is those little pieces you get here and there. They're like the little tiny little pieces, and they're like super crispy. And honestly, those are like the best part, because you get a nice little potato mushiness, then you get nice potato crispiness. It's just the best. You're gonna cut them as consistent as you can. Even though they have a thing to cut their potatoes, they're also not cut perfectly every single time. That's because the potato's round, and by nature, them cutting those potatoes on that press, there's a bunch of curves on the potato, right? So, you know, you also want those curves. You want those little side pieces, because at the end of the fry, those are the best part. They're like the little tiny bits left in the bottom when you're like, God, I cannot possibly eat any more. And then you see that little piece of potato and you're like, damn, I love that. Well, basically that's what I'm doing right there. And then once you cut all your potatoes, let them sit in water. You want them to sit in water for a while, just so all that starch falls out, just so they fry nice and evenly. Do your best. As you can see, they're not perfect, but they're all relatively the same. And that's what you want. You want a nice even fry cook on them. So we just finished cutting the potatoes. They're sitting in water. Remember, let the water run for like about 5 minutes. Drain the water, then refill it up with water again, and then just let your potatoes sit there. All the natural starch will fall down, and then your potatoes will be nice and clean. Before frying, make sure that you do dry them though. You do drain them. Make sure you run them through a towel. Just because, you know, when you're at home, you don't want to drop some potatoes in your little fryer, because then you're gonna get oil all over your house and it's gonna be such a hassle to clean. So dry them. Try to keep the mess as minimal. And as that all is happening, the potatoes are sitting, my spread's marinating, your onions are going, you know, everything's going down now. We got our tomato. We're using Roma tomatoes, or as a lot of stores have them labeled as regular tomatoes. So basically this is a regular tomato, guys. And so we're gonna cut that little piece in the bottom off. I hate when you go to a restaurant, they serve you that little pit in the bag. It's nasty, you know. That's not a good sign. So I already pre-washed my tomatoes. Cut the little piece off. I'm gonna be careful. I'm actually gonna remove it right now. You can just do this with the tip of your knife. Very simple. Get that out of there. Nobody wants that. Then we're just gonna do nice, medium, thin slices. Their tomato slices are not thick, they're not thin, they're just in that perfect medium size, and that's what we're gonna do. I take the little piece off first. I personally don't like raw tomatoes. But in an In-N-Out burger, I'll eat a couple. That's my excuse, you know. That should be enough right there. For the lettuce, what they use is iceberg lettuce. I cleaned it already, and then I just peel the the leaves off, and I'm just gonna square them off just so it's easy to grab. And then for your lettuce, make sure it's nice and dry. The drier it is, the better. All the excess water on your lettuce will not sit on your bun and make it soft. Onions are looking good, as you can see. They're starting to look nice golden brown. For In-N-Out onions, you never want to move them out of the grill. If they start burning, it's a good sign. That means you're like at perfect caramelization level. That means all the onions are cooked through and some are starting to burn. If you ever, I have studied In-N-Out, guys, like I have seriously have. So basically what they do, raw onions in the front, and as they keep on caramelizing, cooking down to perfection, they push them to the back. Once they start burning a little bit, those little burn pieces will be pushed out of the grill, and they just keep on adding onions. So all day and all night, they have those perfect caramelized onions all the way. So as these onions are nice and finishing, we're gonna shape our patties. So for the patties, guys, very important. The patties actually have to be a little lean, just because the burger by nature can feel very greasy. So I think what they're using is a patty that is 80% lean, 20% fat. Each patty weighs 2 ounces. And so what I have here is like, you know when you'll get those like to-go soups at Ralph's or like in your grocery stores, you buy like things in those little like deli cups or those little cups to go. Basically, that's what that is. I washed it, make sure it's nice and clean, and that's gonna give you the perfect patty. So you're gonna grab it, put your 2 ounces worth of meat in there, and then you're gonna press them with your fingers. And with this one, you gotta do it quick, because the more you touch it, the more the meat will get warm, and you don't want to get sick. By obvious nature, we're naturally warm, so the more you're touching the cold meat, the more to the room temperature you get it, and the more possibility of you getting sick. And so you press it all around, make sure it's nice and even. The borders are very important. Make sure you retouch it with your thumbs, because you don't want the meat to break on you, and then you just throw in your cutting board, and it kind of peels off lightly, and then it should come off. Make sure it's nice and set up. That's a nice little patty you got going on. Make sure you pick it up. Voila, guys, little patty. So onions are they're to perfection, right, guys? Our spread is sitting and it's perfect, ready to go. Our lettuce has drained. Our tomatoes are sitting there. They're looking nice and fresh. You know, it's time to get cooking. The first thing you're gonna drop is your potatoes, just because the potatoes do take the longest. They are not pre-fried. They're not frozen. We just literally cut them a while ago. You wanna make sure all that's ready. So your onions, we're gonna push them to the side of the grill. So for the patties, guys, they're set. The only thing In-N-Out ever seasons with that I have noticed is salt. And I'm pretty sure they're not using kosher salt, they're just using iodized salt. So in this one, you gotta be careful when seasoning, because you can very easily over season with iodized salt. And so I got this little thing right here, and I'm just gonna go very lightly all the way through. And then the side that you season first will hit the bottom, and then you season on top. But before dropping the meat, let's talk about the buns, guys. The bun is another crucial element of this burger, right? Crispy edges. They don't do any butter or oil on the bun. They just let it sit there, guys. They let it sit on the grill until it's nice and crispy. They never flip them. So you gotta also give it some time. And I personally think they use something close to like Wonder Bread, some sort of white bun. Not buttery, not dry, just a beautiful middle ground. Nice and fluffy. I actually got Wonder Bread for this recipe to work out perfectly fine. And so let's get it going. Some of that juice from those caramelized onions, we're gonna pull it back. You're gonna drop it down. Just gonna let it sit there. Onions are going. The grill is on max. The buns, I just actually put the buns right in the middle spot so they get nice and crispy. We gotta put some sort of weight. If you ever check In-N-Out, the dudes put like a little metal thing on top. We're gonna do the exact same thing, but I don't have the metal thing, so I'm just gonna use a plate. Press them down. My patties are looking pretty good. I'm gonna do a light spread of oil on the grill. Nothing too much, just enough for them to sear. Like I said, season side face down first. Now that you have placed your patties down, you grab a little bit more salt and you're gonna hit the side that wasn't seasoned. You're gonna be very careful. Just lightly. The type of cheese that they use, they gotta use definitely American. It melts, it's buttery. So I'm using American cheese as well. Let's check on the onions. Those onions are looking beautiful. I have the potatoes right now draining, just because I don't want, like I said, you don't want any oil being splattered all over your house. Your oil should be set up at 350, and then they're gonna be a solid 7 to 8 minutes cooking time. As you can hear, they're kind of wet still. You just drop them nice and slowly. So the patties are going, the buns are being pressed, and you flip them. You see that? That's the In-N-Out secret right there. They're crispy. That's what drives me crazy, guys. You guys ever want to take me out on a date? Buy me In-N-Out. That's it. We're making out. Rotate your buns so they get crispy evenly. We press the buns again, just because you want to assure maximum crispiness on the bun, guys. I cannot stress that enough. Make sure your fries, you move your basket a little bit. Make sure all the potatoes are frying evenly. 350, guys, remember, 350 on the oil. So the meat is nice and juicy, and they always go a layer of grilled onions. And I'm gonna do them right on top of the meat, just so when I place the cheese is gonna melt and cover and gonna be perfect. We've got that American cheese, 2 slices. Oh God, we're about to tear it up, guys. All right, guys, so as you can see, everything is ready to go. Caramelized onions are on point, GBD all the way. Our lettuce, tomatoes ready to go. We have our spread set up. Our buns are getting nice and crispy. Let me show you how beautiful that is. That's what you want. You want to hear it. You want to flick it. You're going to be able to know that it has texture. So basically now we're going to build the burger, and this is going to go really quick. Our fries are still a few minutes out, but I got to take a bite out of this. Got to make sure I nail it down. So bun, bottom bun, make sure it's perfectly crisp. A little bit of spread, guys. And I say a little just because you want to make sure that the bun still stays crispy. As you can see now, the cheese has melted and it's like starting to like get crispy in the edge, and my mouth's like literally watering, guys. It's so crazy good at this moment. Make sure you let that sit there for a while. Once that happens, pick it up, you stack them like so. And then for your burger, it's gonna be lettuce, 1 tomato, the double patty right on top. Look at that, guys. Damn, I should go work at it now. You get the top bun. Whew. You see that? That's what you want, right? That crispiness right there. More spread. And ta-da, guys. Damn. So there you go, guys. In-N-Out, my version. I'm not trying to make it better. I'm not trying to say that I could do better. In-N-Out, I'm not saying that, guys. I just want to show you that it is possible for you to recreate it at home. You can make it as tasty. You can make it with your friends. You could do it on Sunday night football. Those fries right here are finalizing. Drop them again. Make sure you move them back and forth. These onions, you see how they're nice and perfect. Push them to the side. Let them burn. All right, guys. Fries are done. Came out of the fryer right now. They're draining. You gotta make sure you add salt right as they come out, because if you don't, then the salt won't stick. Make sure they drain as best as you can. And we're making their super famous animal fries, guys. I'll show you that. So put in this mixing bowl right here. A little bit of salt. A little more salt. Make sure you get the bottom ones. Now you got all that mixed up, ready to go. We're gonna grab our little bowl. We're gonna add our fries. Let's try one right now. I agree. All right, guys, so fries in the bottom, caramelized onions on the top, cheese on top. They usually do cheese and onions on top, but I actually, you know, since I have the option of making it in my house, I'm making it a little different. They never melt the cheese where it's like nacho cheese. They only just melt it enough where you pick up a fry and you still get it like stuck with other fries and onions. And then they throw the spread on top of it. So that's basically what I'm gonna do. Just gonna put it in my little toaster oven for a couple of like seconds, because I don't want the cheese to like render melt. I just want it enough to get soft, nice and gooey. The potatoes are out of the little toaster oven. Now we're just gonna throw one last thing in them. It's the spread. There you guys have it, in and out, made in-house. We didn't try to make it healthy. We just try to make it nice and house made. Try to make sure we still capture the essence of what In-N-Out is, which is just magical fast food. If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. Thank you for joining Chef Talks. Chef Easy on the mic, like I said one more time. See you next time.